Hello and welcome to the Rover Ramble podcast. My name's Rover and welcome to another episode of this still quite shiny new podcast. Each month I'll be joined by a different special guest for a ramble conversation. So without further ado, let me introduce today's guest. This month I'm joined by VortexWarp, who is a Minecraft content creator over on YouTube with around 400 subscribers. He makes Minecraft Redstone videos, he's a member of the Mathcraft server, and he is also a member of the Spectrum UHC Discord server. Now, he has also added a little note for me saying he does have an inconsistent upload schedule, but Vortex, I've got you here today. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, it's nice to be here. It's strange as well, but I'm sure we'll get into it as we go along.
Yeah, we're still learning the rhythm, I have to say. Even I am still learning the rhythm of how this podcast works, but we're here, and we're here to have a ramble conversation about all sorts of bits and pieces. Now, before we jump into our main conversation, Vortex, I thought what we'd do is we'd have a little catch-up. What have you been up to recently in the Minecraft YouTube content creating world? What have you been up to?
It's a good question. So, well, where do I start with that? Obviously, I'm playing on the Mathcraft server, as always. We recently tried out the proximity mod, didn't we?
Yeah, that's been really it's a really strange experience.
Yeah, I found that fun though when we did that. We'll have to do more of that in the future.
It's been really good trying to just getting used to it. Well, once we got it set up on the server, which I have to say was a little bit finicky, but we got there.
We did.
But yeah, we had a bit of an experience, didn't we, Vortex? I think by the time this podcast goes out, my episode should have been out. Otherwise, here's some spoilers for what's coming up. Well, Vortex, we decided we'd go to the end, didn't we, with Barry?
We did, yeah.
And at the start, it was all going well. We were going out there to get Vortex and Elytra. Myself and Barry, another member of the community, we both have an Elytra, but Vortex didn't. Vortex made a silly ender pearl mistake, didn't you?
Yeah, I ender pearled into the void and lost all of my gear. And it gets worse because then Rover basically did a very similar thing and fell in the void as well, right?
Yeah, it was quite embarrassing because I was joking to Barry. Barry's got about 500 deaths on the server now. I was joking to Barry. I said, Barry, don't die. We don't need you looting all your stuff, just before we went out. And 20 minutes later, I go through an ender portal, or one of those portals out to the outer end. And the land didn't generate in quick enough. And I met my demise in the void. So,
that was quite tragic.
I had to eat my words a bit, and now I'm back in blue. I'm back in blue without the netherite, and I'm not used to it. It's only been, 7-8 months since the nether update released, and almost instantly, most people were straight into that netherite gear. And yeah, it's been strange being back in blue. It feels weird. I'm looking at my tools like I'm not used to this. And this used to be the highest tier of equipment only a year ago. So it's quite a strange experience.
I guess that's a good segue, into the next segment of the podcast.
Wow. You
want to talk about that?
You are really... I'm impressed. Vortex is more on the ball than I am because even I didn't pick that up.
Well, today... I think we're missing a little bit of the podcast thing, but yeah, we're talking about how the updates, how Minecraft is changing for the better, I guess.
Yeah, so that is the theme of today's podcast. We're going to jump into our main discussion where we're going to be talking about how Minecraft is changing for the better. We're not about doom and gloom here on the podcast. We're going to talk about the upsides, the good things. Well, there might be some sad things. There's always Minecraft Earth, which seems to get a little bit sad coming up quite soon, actually. But Vortex, yeah, we thought we'd talk quite broadly. We put down a few notes about what we want to chat about Minecraft getting better and better year by year. And I think one of the main things, sort of the overarching thing that makes Minecraft better year on year is the updates that come to the game. Now, Vortex, I thought I'd let you kick off this discussion. What about updates really makes Minecraft better for you?
Well, I think re-inspiring old players is one of the greatest things, and new players as well. Like, every time something new is added, that brings everyone back to the game. Everyone plays it, basically. Like, you speak to most people, and they have played the new update because... Of course you're going to. There's so much hype around it. There's all the new things you can do. It's just really an exciting thing, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I actually think in more recent years that's become even more of a case, because
Yeah.
I feel like more recently, sort of post 1.12, 1.13, we've had a bit more of a set in stone update schedule from Mojang Studios, and it's really, I think, benefited. Because one of the things I visualize in my head, and there's probably someone who's done some analysis on this before, but it's where we've got a graph, and if we imagine that every time a new update releases, the graph goes right back up again, and then over a year or so, it slows back down, but then we have another update, and you sort of have this sort of wave effect, and in terms of player motivation and things they want to do, and I think the balance between updates and enjoying the updates, they've really found a sweet spot, I think. That year gap between major updates, I think, works really well.
Yeah, definitely. And especially even if you consider the old updates where they used to have massive gaps between them, it shows how like strong of a game Minecraft is, because people still played throughout that period, and even like when the updates weren't as frequent, as soon as they started making them frequent again, everyone sort of rushed back to the game, and it's just so big again.
Yeah, it really is one of those things. Now, I'm not one to, I'm not really a boaster, but I wonder if one of those, here I go, I boast, but I wanted to look, and we've, on the podcast here before, we've talked about content creators in general in a bit more depth. In the last episode of the podcast with Septic Spud, we talked about Minecraft content creation and what it's like to be on different platforms creating content. But I'm just wondering if it's one of those things where once you're a content creator, which both myself and you are, we have this sort of need in our minds that we need to be creating content even when we don't have an update coming, or when we're in that sort of low point between an update, sort of the hype being over before the new one's announced. And there's always this sort of low point in motivation, which always seems to arises. But I think one of those things that a core player base which always stays playing the game is content creators, because while we need to be regularly creating content, and we're always finding new ways to do different things in between those big updates where we'll focus a lot on them. So it's one of those interesting things. I don't know if I can credit content creators for keeping the Minecraft player base active, but I think it's got to be one of the big factors up there.
I think that's the reason why Minecraft, at the end of the day, has been so successful, with like the whole sort of rise of YouTube and YouTube Minecraft content and social media, and it's kind of come hand in hand, and that's sort of, I think, the reason why Minecraft's become so big, because of the content creation.
Yeah, it's just been amazing. I don't think there's I can't think of another game that's been so big like this ever.
Yeah.
Well, it hasn't, has there? Because this is Minecraft. I think about a year ago became the world's best-selling game ever. Full stop. It's just incredible, and we're all sort of a part of that. It's absolutely awesome, and so if we think about sort of updates in a bit more depth, do you think there's limits of what Mojang can do to add to Minecraft?
That's an interesting question, because every time there's an update, everyone's like, they're ruining the game, aren't they? Like,
Oh yeah, I was just going to say that one of those sort of moments that always comes to my head when you hear that this update ruins the game. It was the 1.14 update. And I remember in a small community I was in, it was a massive, there was a big uproar saying, this is so modded, because all of these new blocks were coming in, things like the blast furnace, the smoker, and stone cutters and things like that. And now you look back and you think, that's not modded.
Yeah.
That's vanilla Minecraft.
I think it's hard to comment, right, as someone who plays Minecraft a lot, like, comment on how much the game can change, because to be honest, I kind of always want it to be changing, because I'm used to all the stuff from 1.14 and the stuff from 1.16 now, so I just want more. But obviously there's going to be people out there who haven't played in a while, or they're not up to date with all the new updates, and it feels like it might become a bit overwhelming and it's not going to feel like the same game, so they have to be careful of that. But I think there's not really a limit as such. I think there's so much more to do. Like, there's the whole end dimension that's completely lacking, and they always come up with, Mojang always come up with creative ideas, so I'm sure we'll keep seeing updates.
I think that really it's such a big credit to Mojang. I mean, there will always be criticism whatever you're doing, and being such a massive company that Mojang Studios have become, in terms of their wide-ranging reach across the globe, they're a fairly small team in the scheme of things, but the creativity they come up with, I mean, just looking at the cave update snapshots which are coming out almost every week, it's incredible. Looking at this brand new cave generation, the creativity is just incredible that they come out with year on year, update on update. It's just amazing, and every time it just shocks me to what's been added, and the beauty they create within this blocky game is just incredible.
Yeah, they're so good. Like, they do so much wonder for the game, and I just really appreciate them, to be honest. Like, how they've worked on the game and made it what it is today.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Vortex, the big question. And we've actually had a little bit of a discussion between this already in the past few weeks, but what is your favourite Minecraft update?
Yeah, so we have had a lot of a discussion, because on the Amathicraft Discord, there was a little updates voting competition, right, to determine everyone's favourite update. And I'd have to say, I think it's probably going to be a not very popular choice, but 1.11 is my favourite update. And shall I say the reason?
Yeah, give us a reason. I'm really interested to hear why that is.
I mean, I think you probably already know the reason. The two main things that they added, shulker boxes and Elytra rocket flight, and they were just game changers for the game. They feel so insignificant when you consider like all of these new biomes and all the like new nether and I guess ocean stuff that they've added. But these changes just change like fundamentally how you play the game, like with storage and flying about. I just think that's one of my favorite updates for that reason.
1.11 always sticks with me in my head, and this is probably just a characteristic of me, but I tend to remember quite well when things came and or came together, especially in the time that I've been playing the game. And I remember that Rocket Flight didn't even come in the major 1.11 release. It came in the 1.11.2 version, which is if you think about the sort of the point versions that we've had, they tend to be quite insignificant versions, but to think something so massive and so game-changing came in such a small update, it's quite amazing, and I think that's actually something that Mojang have moved away from. Looking at sort of 1.12 onwards, the point update, very rarely do we see new features as such, or I don't think we've ever really seen something as amazing or game-changing as Rocket Flight that came in 1.11.2. But then again, we've had things like the Piglin Brute, which came in 1.16.2, so who knows? Yeah, it's a fine balancing act, and it's always quite interesting. So just keeping an eye on those smaller updates, because you never know what will be added, and sometimes you can really be quite surprised.
Yeah, I really think they have got their act together, though, for the most part, with how they've organised all the updates. Like, you can tell more recently how much better they're getting at it. Like, if you think back to just like when translocation was a thing, do you remember that?
Oh yes, yeah, that was
that was a bug that they introduced,
yeah.
And it was in the game for a long time before they actually removed it, and everyone accepted it as part of the game as like not a bug anymore. And then they removed it, and there was so much outrage. But I think now they've sort of got their act together almost, and they've sort of organised themselves better. Yeah,
one of the things I've heard about from just following a lot of the Minecraft community on Twitter is that Mojang and the technical community actually share a Discord server. So people like Imango, Nembom, and they're not coming to mind at the moment, but those are a lot of Psycraft guys. They're in a private Discord server with some of the Mojang team to discuss things that come through and say, actually, I think this needs nerfing, I think this needs buffing, this is just about right. And I think that's amazing. I don't think there's another games company out there that is that integrated with the community and cares so much about what happens in the community and how the game evolves. I think it's just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, the way they connect with the player base and just take ideas into consideration and sort of account for all the different aspects of the player base when they're doing their updates and just talking with the community in general. I think it's really great.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch the Q&A videos that have been released on the Minecraft YouTube channel, and every month or so they tend to do another Q&A video, and they're actually really, really interesting because in the previous one they were talking about the balance between trying to find in every update having something for every type of player, which is, it's amazing to hear them talk about this and clearly sort of express their vision for how they want updates to be, how they want updates to work. If we look sort of before 1.13, a lot of them didn't have aspects for every type of player. However, sort of post 1.13 or 1.13 and onwards, we've seen a lot more of that. There'll be things for redstoners, there'll be things for adventurers, creative players, the whole broad range, and I think you can really spot it. I think there's a real sort of dividing difference between 1.12 and 1.13. It just seems to be such an incredible difference in the way updates are done, and it's 100% for the better.
Yeah, I agree. They've definitely improved significantly with 1.13 onwards, and I hope that continues into the future.
Yeah, so do I. So, and the future is looking very bright with the 1.17 update.
Yeah.
Or
dark,
realised,
deep dark, as the case may be.
Yes. I am very excited to see what that brings. The Warden.
Yeah, I'm excited
very,
just
very
for Redstone as well, with the new Skulk Sensor block and stuff like that.
I think so much is going to come of that. I think that's going to be a real, hopefully a game changer for Redstone. I mean, we've already seen from some snapshot videos that that's already happening, and really, really excited to see. Now, I actually realised I don't think I said my favourite update, and again, like Vortex said, we did this knockouts in the Mathcraft Discord server, and I was thinking, I am struggling to choose. Up there is the 1.13 update, and actually mostly because of the technical changes in that update rather than the ocean changes. And that's because the technical changes absolutely revolutionised commands. We got data packs properly implemented, and it really changed the way I play the game. It added a big aspect into the way I play the game, because before the command system, it wasn't great. You could learn and understand it, but you couldn't do as much. And I think 1.13 is definitely up there, but I'd have to probably mull it over a little bit. I guess 1.7 was also pretty good, the update that changed the world, quite literally.
I don't see the hype for 1.7. I wasn't really in the community, to be fair, around 1.7. I joined just before 1. I think was it just after 1.6 that I joined, so I wasn't really up to date with everything. But I just think the updates since then have been better.
Yeah, there's it's just that, and that's in a great way. That's, I think, the way it should be for a great game. The more recent updates should be the best of the updates ever released. Otherwise, if people were still in love with update 1.3, I don't think anyone could tell me what was added in update 1.3. But I think if people were stuck with that sort of mentality, I don't think Minecraft would have grown or will continue to grow in the way that it is, which is it's just amazing, just amazing.
Well, there's always been that mentality a bit with like PvP. We don't like the 1.9 PvP mechanics, stick on 1.8, right? And,
yes, yeah.
And the technical community for a while was stuck on 1.12, I think, because of changes to chunk loading and stuff.
Yeah, and to somewhat are still stuck on 1.12.
Yeah.
I believe, am I right in saying SciCraft are still running 1.12?
I think they might be.
Their main world, and they do incredible stuff. And I think, what I hope is that Mojang, they're taking more of this into account. And I know Jeb in the background over the past year and a half has been working on the new combat update, which will release at some point, a bit like the texture update did. It will come out when it's ready. And apparently that's had a lot of PvP influencers, not influencers, but people coming in who are part of that community in a big way, and also in lots of other areas to really shape it for the better, I think, because that is the big controversial update, I think, 1.9. A lot of... basically, if you want a PvP,
I mean, personally,
you quite
I like
liked
the new
it.
PvP, but...
Yeah, if you want a big PvP, you tend to like that update because it actually became easier to understand PvP. And it wasn't just about who can click the fastest, which I understand why Mojang went that way, but it didn't please all the PvPers in the Minecraft community, which is, to be fair, quite a big proportion.
Yeah, let's move on before we upset all the PvP people when they leave.
Yeah, please stay listening, Gabriel. Please stay listening. Well, I thought we'd go on to Minecon Live. and is it Minecraft Live or is it Minecraft?
I don't even know what it's called
or is
on.
it Minecraft Earth?
We should have researched this more because they changed the name, didn't they?
They've changed it a few times. I believe now it's called Minecraft Live, or it has been since October 2020, and I hope they're staying that way. I think even they joked about it being changing its name every year. But yeah, Minecraft Live has become something really quite a big deal now. Every year, it's replaced the in-person Minecons, which were happening, that's another sort of controversial issue that I've seen. A lot of people enjoyed being able to go to these big gaming conventions, but then again, if you look at the context the world is in right now, I think they made the move at the right time to do 2017. I think it was called Minecraft Earth online at that point. I think they timed it just right, and it's so more integrated with the community. However, it brings on the topic of the mob vote. Vortex,
the mob vote, yes.
What is your opinion on all of the mob votes and the votes that have happened in these Minecraft Lives? Because we had 2 buy-in votes, I believe, and 2 mob votes. So, what have your opinion been?
I'm split, basically, because I think it's a great idea in principle. Like, everyone gets to vote. It's such an engaging thing. And I think that's a big part of why people tuned into the Minecon live stream as well, the Minecraft live stream, whatever it is. But there's definitely division among the community about the mob vote, and everyone sort of goes at each other's throats a bit, accusing people of rigging the vote and saying your opinion's wrong. And it's just, I find it quite hilarious to watch, to be honest.
It really has been. I think Mojang have found it a little bit. I don't know if they found it frustrating. Obviously, I have no.
I imagine they wouldn't.
contact with Mojang, so I'm not speaking on their behalf at all. They all have their own opinions. But sort of from our perspective, it sort of looks like they are becoming a little bit frustrated in a way, and I think the community are also becoming a little bit frustrated, because if we look back, we've had 2 biome votes, so we had votes on 6 biomes overall. We were told they would all get updated at some point, and this is still a small bug.
Yeah, I'm annoyed about that. Yeah,
they would all get updated at some point, and we had the tiger that won, so we got foxes and berries. And I can't remember the one. We got the mountains, which obviously we are getting in this update, which they're absolutely awesome. But that still means there are 4 biomes which are said to be updated and look like they're going to have some really quite cool features, but we have no timescale. And I think that's been one of the things that it would have been nice to have been expressed to us when we can sort of expect it. Because if we look for the next year and a half, we have no idea of when they'll be coming. Or if they'll be coming. They never know. They might change their minds.
It does make me wonder if they're going to not update them. Like, it's been a few years since then. They might have changed their mind about how things are running, I guess, with the game. So maybe we won't get them. Maybe we will.
Yeah, it always makes me wonder. I remember hearing, I think it was way back in the sort of the 1.10 days, an interview with one of the Mojang team, and they were saying how they actually plan really far ahead. They sort of in the 1.10 days, they said they knew what they were doing up till about 1.15. They knew at least the idea of the update. They didn't know the specifics, and they do that coming closer. But actually knowing that Mojang have got this sort of forward-thinking approach to Minecraft, it's really promising. However, it does make you think, well, if they've already planned the next 5 updates, are we going to have to wait till 1.25 to get the 4 biomes?
True.
So it does sort of make you wonder of how sort of forward-thinking you can be, but who knows? They could have changed their minds on things, and yeah, we can't speak because obviously we're not part of that Mojang team who make all those decisions.
Actually, now I think back to it, you know, the mob vote, the first mob vote with the Phantom in, it had an ocean mob, right? It had a nether mob. What were the other 2? I can't remember. That's really interesting.
There was the Phantom, the Ocean mob, the Nether mob, and there was that mob, the Enchanting sort of mob.
Oh yeah, that was the one I wanted.
that sort of dug into the ground and could do something with enchantments. Maybe 1.14 linked? I don't know. Or is that something that might be coming?
Maybe they were hinting. I don't know what their idea was with that. But I think the funny thing is that most people seem to hate the Phantom now, even though they voted for it.
It is. It's one of those things, and I mean, I will put my hands up. I might regret this, but I'll put my hands up and say I was voting for the Phantom Mob during the mob vote, and my logic behind that, and the reason I voted for the Phantom at the time, was because apart from bats, we didn't have any other flying mobs in the game, and I think that's something that we should get more of in the game. We've now got bees, bats, and phantoms. I believe that's all the flying mobs I can think of. I mean, where's the
parrots,
flying fish?
Kind of.
Parrots. Yes, parrots. I forgot about them. The most relevant mob. Now, I want to jump to another controversy. It seems that's all we've done so far in the podcast, but I wanted to talk about one of the big controversies that happened around 2014. And if you're around playing Minecraft at that time, or you're integrated within the community, then you'll know what I'm about to talk about. Microsoft will kill Minecraft! The big newsflash everywhere. Microsoft are buying Minecraft, and they're going to kill it. Well, what are we on? We're about 7 years later. Spoiler, they haven't. I think there's been a lot of still a lot of controversy around it actually, about Microsoft seem to being favoriting the Minecraft Bedrock edition, or the Render Dragon edition of the game, as it's now sort of being called.
I've never heard that.
They've just been added to the Render Dragon, so maybe that'll become its new name. Doesn't seem as catchy, I have to say. Who knows? And also the topic of there was a big scare of they're killing Java. They're killing the Java edition of the game, and I'm assuming if you watch YouTube videos, you've probably had once or twice come up in your recommended. I have about once a year a video that comes up of a YouTuber explaining how they are killing Minecraft and why they're killing Minecraft Java Edition. Every year, every time they seem to be wrong.
Every update, there's always backlash, basically. And I think that's something the devs have to deal with that's really sad, because they do a great job, and it's just sad to see them have to deal with people telling them that they're doing their jobs wrong, or they're ruining the game.
It's really quite difficult, and I think if you're still of the mindset, and from the sort of the community that listens to this podcast, I don't think there are very many out there who are of the mindset that they're killing Java Edition. But the one thing that's always proves that sort of opinion wrong is that year on year, more and more posts get opened up at Mojang Studios to work on the Java edition of the game. You wouldn't add more jobs to something you're quietly going to kill off. And there's such a wide community. There is a bigger community now in Bedrock Edition rather than Java Edition, but it's still a massive community, and I think...
Wasn't the whole basis for that argument that they changed the title screen of Minecraft Java Edition to say Minecraft Java Edition instead of just Minecraft? That was the majority of it, right?
That was one of the big scares, and it was sort of again linked back to that Microsoft will kill Minecraft, and that's because they can monetize the Bedrock edition of the game much easier. So we've seen introductions of things like the marketplace. Now I think that's sort of a discussion for another day, the marketplace and money within Minecraft, and how the financing sort of side of things works, because I think that's another big discussion, and there'll be a lot more opinions on that one, so that's something we'll have to do for another podcast. But it is one of those things that there does seem to be within the community. About once a year I see another video pop up in my recommended, how they're killing Minecraft Java Edition explained 2021, with sort of fancy graphics everywhere, and they put the dev tweets up which have no relevance at all to the actual video, and it becomes this sort of scaremongering thing. But actually I think that's more linked to people just trying to get views on YouTube. If you're interested, here's a plug. If you're interested in talking about or listening to us talking about YouTube and the politics of YouTube and how that all works, go and listen to the previous episode of the podcast. There'll be a link to that down below. Whoa, got the plug out of the way. There we go. I actually thought we'd jump down to social media and Minecraft. And I thought one of the big things is, it links in with all this, the developers of Minecraft, is their amazing use of Twitter and Reddit. It's incredible. They're always so active on Twitter, and they interact with everyone. They post pictures of frogs when snapshots are about to be released, or bananas when Bedrock betas are about to be released. There's smaller things in there, and they're so interactive with the community, and it's just absolutely amazing.
I mean, the dev connection is good, right? They send out stuff on Twitter. They do a little bit on Reddit as well. But also there's the connection of just players and content creators across all platforms, not just the devs as well. I think that's important to know, and how there's these trends in the Minecraft community that arise, and I think it just brings people together, brings the hypes of the game up more, and you can see it rising more and more every time there's...
Yeah, no, it it really becomes more and more apparent the more active you become on Discord and Twitter and Reddit of how big the Minecraft community is, and it's not a quiet, isolated community. Everyone seems to know everyone, which is a great thing. I've made so many friends through all of this and got to know so many amazing people. And yeah, no, it's been great. Just you see when you go onto Reddit or Twitter, there's always a great discussion being had. There's always someone showing an epic build on Reddit. Reddit is amazing for doing things like that. People will post pictures of their builds, and people really constructive and supportive. And I have to say, Reddit isn't something I use very often at all. I think once in a blue moon, I'll have a look at it and check and see if there's anything interesting on there. But yeah, no, there really are some great platforms out there. And if you're not already on Twitter, or I think Twitter's one of the really big ones, or personally for me it is, I really would recommend it. And you follow sort of one person, and you get a couple of people that recommended, and you follow them, and then you end up following about 500 people, which I think I am at the moment. And yeah, no, it is incredible, the community. And Vortex, do you know what I can do here? I can do another plug. I can do
another plug. Hey!
Hey, here we go. The first episode of the podcast where I was talking to Vloop, we talked about this. We talked about the Minecraft community in general. So if you're interested in that and going into a bit more depth of the Minecraft community, then go and check that episode out. It's the first episode of the podcast.
I think also it shows all this posting on social media and stuff like that. It shows that Minecraft's not just a game; it's like a medium, right? And it allows people to create stuff and people to connect and make friends. And I think that's like the important part of why the game has lasted so long, right? It's not just a game, you play it, that's that. It allows you to connect with people and to make stuff.
Yeah, there have been some absolutely amazing projects, and that's always a great way to think about Minecraft. Actually, it's not just a game; it's a medium. It's an artistic medium, and actually, it can be educational. There's obviously the education edition of the game, and I remember hearing about a project within Minecraft about a year and a half ago, where there is a team of people creating a Minecraft library, and in that library are loads of different books from all around the world. And the idea is this world can then be sent to countries which may restrict access to certain books or certain content. They can go into this Minecraft world and read it. I mean, what an amazing thing that is. I will try and find a link to that project and add it to the description of this podcast. So if you're interested in that podcast, in that project, and you want to help out a little bit, I believe you can all get involved with it. And it's incredible the way and the things Minecraft does. And usually about once a year we see something on the Minecraft YouTube channel about something that's sort of redesigning a community space within Minecraft, getting people involved. And it's incredible what one man has created to create all of this, such a wide-reaching medium of a platform. The game is also really quite accessible, or has become more and more accessible over the years. With update on update, we're always getting sort of new accessibility features to help those who might be or have any sort of issue which will prevent them from playing the game, or to assist them more. And I think one of the most amazing cases of this I've seen is there is a YouTuber on Twitter. Now, off the top of my head, I can't remember his name. Again, all the links to what we talked about will be down in the description. He's a blind Minecraft player, and he creates amazing content. I believe he streams and also creates videos on YouTube. So there'll be a link to his stuff down below. But his content is amazing, and just to think, you don't just have to see to be able to play this game. You can really enjoy this game whatever your circumstances, and that's just great.
I think it proves that anyone can play Minecraft, anyone can make Minecraft content, and that's the beauty of it at the end of the day.
Now, of course, over the past few years, Minecraft isn't just Minecraft Java Edition, Minecraft Bedrock. it's become more than that. We've had more games coming out of Minecraft. We've had Minecraft Earth and we've had Minecraft Dungeons. Minecraft Earth, sadly, if you haven't already seen the news, is being sunsetted. In other words, it is shutting down. From, I believe, June the 31st, you'll no longer be able to log into Minecraft Earth and play the game any further. Now, most likely, the reason behind this is because of the current world situation, and it just hasn't made it viable to keep the game running. It's quite sad. I've played Minecraft Earth a bit, and it isn't my style of game, I have to say. I don't find the creativity in it. I'm very much more a survival player, so just building on 16 by 16 plots doesn't really spark my creativity. Vortex, have you ever played Minecraft Earth?
I've played it a little bit, right? And it was fun for a bit, but at the end of the day, I feel like there's not that much you can do with it, right? Especially if you're just on your own. You're walking around, you pick up blocks, you build a little plot, and you're like, well, that looks nice. But I could have done that so much better in a regular Minecraft world. So I guess it's fun for a bit, but it's not quite... I think it's a little bit of a failure, a little bit of a flop, but you have to have flops in order for successes to emerge. And I think that's what we should take away from this, is that although Minecraft Earth has failed, that's just helped. I guess it's just proved that the stuff that has succeeded, there's a reason why it succeeded, the stuff with the Minecraft so far.
Definitely. And obviously the other branch, or the current branch of Minecraft is Minecraft Dungeons, which is sort of quite on the opposite. It seems to be doing better and better year on year. Well, year on year, we're coming up to a year since it first fully released. I believe around March 2020, the beta came out, and myself and you, Vortex, we actually ended up playing. We made a few videos on there, playing the beta, and then it fully released in May 2020. It was and it's done really, really well. I've really enjoyed playing it. However, it's not something I go back to. I completed the game. I completed all of the base levels and the 2 DLCs that came with the Hero Pass when it first came out. And yeah, I enjoyed it, but I think I wouldn't really go back to it. And talking about DLCs, because that's sort of the progress of the game. They're all going to come through paid DLCs. And a few free updates here and there. It's not really my cup of tea, but then again, I'm not blaming that on Minecraft Dungeons. I think that's just the style of game it is, and that's not really the sort of game that I enjoy playing. I think I've got so used to Minecraft and enjoying Minecraft that going to a DLC-based game is so strange. If Mojang suddenly turned around and said the 1.17 update is a DLC, you've got to pay for it, I think we'd all be quite shocked.
We would be shocked. I think I would probably still buy it because I just love Minecraft that much. But I think it would make a mess of everything because not everyone would upgrade. It would split the community. I think it just doesn't work for a game like Minecraft. And I think it proves that. I guess I don't call myself a gamer. I call myself a Minecrafter, right? Because I don't really play many games outside of Minecraft because I don't really know. Minecraft just allows you to do so much that it's just so different from other games. So they're like, I do enjoy games and they're fun. Like Minecraft is just special to me. It's just completely different. It's just so good.
It really is. That's a brilliant sort of summary of our whole topic. As a whole,
so good.
Minecraft,
we love it.
It's just such a great game. It really is, and I'm really interested to see how Minecraft Dungeons will progress over the next year, to see how it continues, because it is quite a different game to Minecraft in so many ways. The only thing that's the real similarity is just how it looks and how it feels. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that game progresses, and who knows, Minecraft may come out, or Mojang may come out with more games in the future. Who knows what will happen? It's going to be very interesting to watch that page.
Yeah, it will definitely be fun if they do come up with more games. And I think it's something it's fun, but it's not like essential, right? See, Minecraft will still succeed without it. Minecraft still exists without it. And it's fun for those people who enjoy like different sorts of games or want like a break from, I guess, main Minecraft. But
yeah, definitely.
I guess it's not for me is what I'm trying to say, but it's still such a good thing that it exists and is out there.
Definitely. So, Vortex, we came up with a pretty good summary of this episode of the podcast. We just love Minecraft, though that tends to work pretty well.
Really?
And as we are wrapping up to the end of the podcast, Vortex, it's a bit of a tradition that I ask every guest on the podcast to rate the podcast experience out of 5. How has your podcast experience been?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I know last time you said, there's going to be someone who rates it a 1. I think I'm not going to do that, though. I'm going to keep the tradition going of rating it 5 out of 5.
Phew, we are still going, listeners. We are still going on our strong record of 5 out of 5. That is brilliant. Vortex, where can people find you online?
So, yeah, you can find me over on youtube.com/VortexWarp. Or if you want to check out all my links, where it's got like my Twitch channel where I occasionally stream, it's got, my Twitter, it's got all those sort of links. You can go to beacons.page/VortexWarp, and that will give you a list of all the links where you can check me out.
Similarly, I can also be found on YouTube at youtube.com/Rover1 and Twitter at twitter.com/Rover1_. Please follow and share the podcast, as it really helps us out as we are starting off a brand new podcast. You can also find the previous episodes at the podcast and wherever you found this episode of the podcast. Thanks ever so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. Thank you, Vortex, for being my guest of this month's episode.
It was a pleasure.
But that's all from us today. Join us next month where we'll be joined by a different special guest for another Ramble conversation. Thanks ever so much. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.